I have literally no idea how this footage will be for the lighting or the audio. I have attached a microphone, which I hope helps. I don't know, and has some extra lighting on. I don't know. If you hear some kids screaming outside, it's simply because there's a kindergarten up there right next to where I'm staying, and so I haven't locked any kids down in the basement or anything that screams for police assistance, just so you know. And if I look down on my foot or toe, it's because I'm in quite a lot of pain, and there's a lot of blood because I just smashed a toe into the toilet door. I really needed to go to the toilet, and then I smashed my toe in my right little toe. Oh, it hurts. Into the door, and there's blood everywhere, and the nail cracked. And oh my god! All right, I want to have a little story time now. It's not gonna be a long one, and it's about my dad. My dad grew up in the Netherlands. He was Dutch. He's dead now, but he was Dutch. And there's breadcrumbs, anyways. And his mom, he she the family was very poor. There were, let's see, there were two daughters, and there were, let's say, Martin, Jan, Hans, and Ruth. So there were four boys and two sisters. Several of the children were placed out in the countryside. They lived in Hay, the Rach, and Gevenhelge. I cannot speak Dutch, but the Dutch would say something like Gevenhelge. So in Dutch people watching this, let me know in the comments. I will say Gevenhelge. Oh, the house. Anyways, so most of his siblings were placed out in the countryside with families, and it was something the Dutch government had put in place so the kids could get out in countryside, get fed, and have a decent life, because he grew up under the German occupation of the Netherlands during World War II. He was born in 1933, so he was 6 years old when World War II started. My dad always liked to have fun, and one day he was out playing in the streets, and his mother was inside doing what she needed to do with the housekeeping, etc. And I don't know if it was at that time my my grandfather, was taken by the Germans to become work labor in a work camp. He was not in a concentration camp, but he was taken with other Dutchmen to be taken into work camps so they could work for the German occupation forces. I have no idea what it worked with, but I guess it was hard manual labor. And one day my grandfather came back, and he was broken. He was tired. He was skinny. He was not in a good place right there. But he managed to survive the war at least. And he has some scar on his soul, but he came through it and died an old man. So that was great. But a story about my dad. One day, my dad was playing in the streets, and my grandmother was in the kitchen, I believe, and she looked out through the kitchen window into the yard. There was a little yard, little 2 seconds. What's it called in English? Gårdsplads in Danish. Google. Try to say courtyard. Of course, the courtyard. He was walking in through the courtyard together with a German soldier, a Wehrmacht soldier, a normal soldier, not an SS soldier. And the German soldier was talking to my son, and my son was talking to the soldier. And the soldier was carrying 2 buckets. My grandmother couldn't see what was in the buckets, but he carried 2 buckets. And she was frightened because they were occupied by Germans, and her son, 6, 7, 8 years old or something like that, was together with that German soldier. But the German soldier didn't seem threatening at all. He wasn't mean or anything like that. But they carry a weapon, of course. And my grandmother didn't speak a word German. She came to the Netherlands as a small kid. I think was 6 years old. She was born in Mozambique on the East African coast by a white man and a black woman, native Mozambican woman. And that's another story. We could take that later. But she didn't speak in German. She only spoke Dutch and the local dialect of East Africa. Swahili, I think it's called. But the German soldier came in to the court with my dad as a little kid, and he knocked the door, had said something in German, I smiled, and then he said goodbye, something like that. My grandmother was kissing, and my dad, I guess, said goodbye in German to the German soldier, and the soldier left. And then my dad stood there, looked at his mother, and she was, I think my dad said, 50% filled with anger, because what are you doing with a German soldier? 2, she was scared, because the neighbors around them would probably have seen my dad coming with a German soldier. And in the buckets, the 2 buckets, they were filled with milk, fresh milk. My dad never said how he got the milk, if he tried to steal it and the German soldier caught him. If my dad just asked for the milk, I don't know. But the fact is that the German soldier came with the milk. So my grandmother, she called all the neighbors up in the surrounding houses and asked them to bring some pots and pans or glasses, etc. And then they split the milk with the neighbors, of course. One, she was a very kind woman. I never met her, but I'm told she was a very kind woman who wanted to share everything what she had with people around her, people she loved, her community. But also, even if she didn't want to share it, you couldn't keep it for yourself, because you don't want the rumors to go around that the Germans helped you during the war, when the war is over and the Germans left again. So no matter what, she had the milk with the neighbors, and that is how they got a lot of fresh milk that they couldn't afford